This is football. I'm Kevin Clark. Week 14 is over. This is the recap. This is football is presented by Manscaped. Upgrade your grooming routine with products built for modern men, now available at Walmart. All right. Today, a lot of storylines to get to. I saw this stat. It blew my mind. The Steelers, you guys remember them? Everybody was trying to get the coach fired last week. The Steelers, all three of their fourth quarter drives went 3 and out with 0 successful plays. They're the third team to win this year without a successful gain in the fourth quarter. The Seahawks did it twice. One of them was in a blowout. The other was against the Titans. So basically comfortable wins against inferior teams. The Steelers did it against their biggest division rival. The biggest division rival in a back and forth game. I love this sport. The beautiful game. 3 3-and-outs. We're going to do winners and losers. Steelers are a big winner. I don't want to go into that because I did the whole thing last week about how sought after Mike Tomlin would be. And people would get after me and they said, Clark, hey, Clark, why don't you defend some more bad coaches? Why don't you defend some more stale situations? Yeah, I go back to it. Cormac McCarthy line. You have no idea what worse luck your bad luck has saved you from. You don't want to see what's behind door number 2 90% of the time. Go back to last week where I talk about that. The Giants should crawl over glass to get Mike Tomlin. By the way, maybe they should try to get Marcus Freeman. Schefter and I talk about that midweek. We're not doing Giants coach episode. Sunday night. We'll do that midweek. Winner. Josh Allen as the best player in the world. I saw a quote. Deion Dawkins had it. When you have the best player in the world on your team, anything's possible. Best football player in the world on your team, anything is possible. That's the line. When asked, he told ESPN, when asked if he's ever surprised by anything Josh Allen does. So Josh Allen, and the Bills defense deserves some credit for here. It was kind of a bad matchup early on. They start creating turnovers. Christian Benford has a pick six, and then Josh Allen has this 40-yard run down the sideline. And I'm thinking about it now, and if you're doing a draft of just humans you want on your football team, I think right now, December 7th, Josh Allen goes number 1. I think so. Lamar, something's up with him. The efficiency is just not there. I don't think he uses his legs as much as he can. He's just kind of beat up this year. Put Myles Garrett in that conversation, I think, if you're just going right now. And again, it's a different question. Is it are you drafting him for a game, for a season, for a career, whatever? It's a different question. But like, if I needed somebody for a game, I'm drafting Josh Allen 1-1. If I need somebody for a drive, it'd probably be Josh Allen 1-1. Loser, the Browns running a trick play, 2-point conversion. I don't know if you saw it. You need to see it. Seek it out. If you're driving or for commuting, pull over and watch this 2-point conversion. So they get within 2 against the Titans. The Titans should not have let them back in the game. And then they take Shough off the field. They run a kind of a double reverse pass to Quinshad Judkins, who seemed to not know the play. If you have not drilled this play over and over and over and over again, you might want to keep it in your holster. And what looked to me was that they maybe came up with this week, or maybe they came up with it in the huddle, or maybe the other theory is that, and I hope this isn't true, is that Judkins is supposed to pitch the ball again and forgot and then kind of did a throwback pass. Or maybe the pressure got to them so quickly that the entire thing got bungled. Having said that, the pressure getting to you is why you don't run a double pass into point conversion in a game-tying situation. Winner, real quick. Again, we're doing big, quick winners and losers, and then we're going to get into the big stuff where I'm going to dive into it. I saw a couple of stories like, does Shough play well enough to make sure the Browns don't draft a quarterback? I put Tyler Shough in this conversation as well. He was 13-20 at the Bucs. What are the Bucs doing? They've lost 5 of 7 games. The Bucs turned Tyler Shough into Josh Allen today on the ground. 7 rushes, 55 yards. He had a 34-yard touchdown pass and 34-yard touchdown run and a 13-yard touchdown run. It was bad. But I it's fine Neither of these teams are going to be good in 2026. It's fine if they're your starter in camp. It's fine if they're your starter for week one. I wouldn't go out of my way to draft a quarterback because you're not there yet, and it's not a good drafting season. We're going to have Jordan Reed on this week, but it's not a good year to need a quarterback. I wouldn't force it. Neither of these teams are bad enough. I guess the Browns are. But is Fernando Mendoza going to change your franchise if you're the Browns? I don't think so. So I'm throwing them both in there. I think you sign a veteran, have competition, but I wouldn't try to get a quarterback in this draft on either of those teams. The Saints are winning games. Loser, and this sucks. Daniel Jones, he's got an Achilles. 9 months is what I saw, pushing him up against week one. But with the Achilles stuff, I mean, we see all this. Kirk Cousins, like they come back, and it's hard to be a good quarterback. So Daniel Jones, by the way, is a runner, so it's a hard deal. And now the Colts have one of the hardest decisions in the world because they have to give him a mega contract. They already went all in on this team by trading for Sauce Gardner. You're not going to go out and trade for Joe Flacco. So what do? Do you give Anthony Richardson another shot? I'll say this very quickly about Riley Leonard. Someone texted me out of the blue in February and said they're not a Colts person and said, I would really love to take a flyer on Riley Leonard just because of his character in the meeting. Just because of his character. They just felt like a guy like that can't fail. And he showed a little bit today. He was able to run a lot at Notre Dame. He was able to bail out a lot of the third down problems if there were any at Notre Dame. Like he had a hyper awareness of where everything was going last year, and he was able to find space and scramble. And I think that had a lot to do with Notre Dame's playoff offense last year. So I think he can at least show you something, and we'll see. It's a month tryout. All right, let's talk about the Packers because I saw a couple people say that Jordan Love should be the MVP. I'm not ready to go there. I think Stafford should be, but he can be the second half of the season MVP. I always believed in Jordan Love because I think he's a really smart player. He sets protections well. He has a really high floor, but he plays inconsistently because of a mixture of. I think he's a field player. I think he's like a hooper or a golfer. I think he just gets in these grooves and he doesn't get out of them very easily. Like once he gets in, we saw that 2 years ago when he was the best quarterback in football in the second half of the season. We've seen it in stretches, and now we're seeing it again. He had the really awful interception where he just simply didn't see Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I don't know what the hell he was doing, but he's consistently hitting those throws. The Packers are catching it, which is the most important thing. They weren't catching it a couple of weeks ago, and it looked like a complete disaster. People were saying, "Oh, the scheme, is Matt LaFleur coaching for his job? What's up with the scheme?" They weren't catching the ball. The guys were open by 3 yards. Jordan Love was hitting them on the hands, and they were twisting around. And they had no idea. They had no body control. It was like somebody spiked the punch at a prom. And whoa, what am I supposed to catch the ball, brother? Like that's what you're supposed to do. Everybody on the team. This was for like a month. Anyway, that was all last year, by the way. All last year. So they're catching the ball now, and you're starting to see it. And the difference in this game, the Bears easily could have won it. And I have some Bears thoughts here that are more positive than maybe you'd think. But the difference is the Bears couldn't consistently pressure Jordan Love, and the most efficient quarterback on third down got to go 8 of 12 on third down. He got a lot of time. All three, via ESPN, all three of his touchdowns traveled at least 20 yards. Let the play develop for a long time. He's got the arm to get there. The secondary did not play particularly well. And I'm seeing this Packers team. So just everybody who listens to this week in, week out knows what happened. I picked the Rams to make the Super Bowl. Then I got spooked by Matthew Stafford's back injury, where he's in a Airstream cryogenic chamber, which is among the worst signs you can have. I backed off and I picked the Packers. Felt awful about it. I was like, oh no, the Rams look so good. I'm feeling much better about the Packers. I'm getting there. Two players in the entire NFL have multiple touchdown passes of 40-plus air yards this season. One is Sam Darnold. The other is Jordan Love. He leads the NFL in EPA per dropback if you're an analytics guy. Next Gen Stats has him absolutely carving up the Bears blitz today. And here it is via Next Gen Stats. The Packers skill position players helped keep Love clean in protection against extra pass rushers, allowing 0 pressures across 13 combined pass blocks. So the skill guys, the Packers skill guys, allowed 0 pressures when there was an extra pass rusher. That's pretty good. That helps you. When you block, anytime you talk to a guy, remember we had Penny Sewell on the show over the summer, and all he was talking about, he was saying, I love Isaac Tesla, but it's only because of his blocking. If you can block as a skill guy, you will find a way to snaps. And I think you're seeing that, and that's culture, by the way. That's also just culture, and it's also GMing and drafting and just knowing you're not going to play a guy who can't block. So that's interesting. Part of the difference was Micah Parsons. Again, we go back to GMing. 8 pressures on 30 pass rushes, 26% pressure rate. He's playing a little DT today and having some success with it. Rest of the Packers had 10 combined pressures. So 18 pressures on the day for the Packers. 8 of them came from Micah Parsons. That's why you make that trade. That's why I still think that the Cowboys' fortunes would have been drastically different if they just kept Micah Parsons. By the way, Micah Parsons is getting held on like every play. You saw those college things, those college, everybody's freaking out because there was no holding in the Big Ten championship game. There was no holding against Micah Parsons, like not 80% of his snaps. So what I'm getting at here is I feel pretty good about the Packers making the Super Bowl. I waffled. I tried to get off it and try to go back to my Rams thing. I'm feeling pretty good. This Packers team, again, it's feel. We've seen Jordan Love rattle off these weeks and weeks and weeks, and it's really hard to break that. It's really hard to break that. If I had to guess right now who wins the NFC, I really like what I saw from the Packers team. Having said that, I was encouraged by Caleb Williams, especially in the second half. And I'm starting to think you can win a division with Caleb Williams, and you can win a couple playoff games with Caleb Williams. Now that's this year. They could win a couple playoff games. Depends if they have to go into Green Bay or whatever, and they still have another game 2 weeks from now against the Packers. But looked like, first of all, the escapability was unbelievable. You saw that. He could have just he made a bad decision on the 4th down interception. DJ Moore was getting behind the defense, and Williams was not. Williams had about half a second more, which in the NFL is an eternity. So he was going to his left. He could have just waited for 1 second, and DJ Moore was going to be wide open. That's why he was upset if he saw it the Fox thing. But I think there's something there because the escapability is so special, and then you marry that with Ben Johnson keeping him in the pocket and letting him get rid of the ball quickly. A lot of play action today, which is helpful for a guy like Caleb Williams. So I was over 60% of his dropbacks. He'd never thrown more play action passes ever than he did today. And he was throwing on the run a lot. He'd never thrown for more yards. He had both touchdowns and the interception end game was on the run. 42% of his passes were on the run. That was the most ever. So I kind of think you want to marry those two things. You want to do play action, boom, play action strikes, play action shots, play action quick game, or just quick game in general. And then, oh, by the way, he can run around and create time for you. And learning when to take each of those is most important. That's not just for the quarterback; it's for the coach too. So I don't feel terrible, and I think there's going to be a lot of clowning of Caleb Williams because he did that interception at the end. I think that was just a dumb decision. And I think, by the way, Jordan Love made a dumb decision today with that interception. So I'm good. I'm good with both these quarterbacks. Packers are going to win the division this year. Might win the NFC. Probably going to win the NFC. Bears, not far behind. Not far behind. Bucks, back to the Bucks. I was thinking about the pass rush. They can't get home. And I heard a funny line. I was just listening as I was getting ready for this, listening to Nate Tice's pod with Charles McDonald. And he was like, the healthier they get, the worse they play. It's just really funny. And so now the Panthers are coming in. The Panthers look like they've got some. I mean, first of all, like they just look. The Bucks look sloppy today, and it feels like the injuries on offense and the lack of a pass rush in the front four is catching up with them. And I don't think that they're going to have. There are a lot of people. Listen, remember, I do all those shows in the summer. A lot of people trying to throw the Bucs into the NFC conversation. I think they're what they always are, which is NFC South contenders, and not they can. It's going to take a bit for them to get into with the Packers and the Rams and that kind of thing, and even probably the Eagles this year. But we'll see about that. I was impressed with the Broncos, and don't get me wrong. I'm not like you beat the Raiders, one of the worst teams in the world, but they haven't lost since September 21st. And what was interesting is the Bo Nix is not going to get bored. And here's what I mean by that. What did Peyton Manning say about Geno Smith a couple weeks ago? Don't get bored. Take the check down. Don't get bored. Take the check down. What did Chris Canty say about Peyton Manning the other day, where he said that they were playing some game, and again they were playing game Giants versus the Colts, Giants versus Colts, and the Giants didn't have any defensive tackles healthy except Canty and two other guys. And Peyton Manning, one of the best quarterbacks of all time, said, we're just going to keep running it right at you. I know I can carve you up behind the defense if I wanted to with whoever, Pierre Garcon or whoever, but guess what we're going to do? We're going to take Donald Brown, we're going to run it right at your DTs, you're going to be gassed the entire game. Don't get bored. Every quarterback has to fight the temptation of getting bored and saying, what if I took a shot here? No, take what the defense gives you. So Bo Nix did not have, his longest completion was 15 yards for the first three quarters. Hit 11 different players, according to ESPN. And everything was quick. The Raiders were going to give up passes right in front. They were going to keep everything in front of them. That was the plan. And guess what Bo Nix did? Bam, 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 bam. I'm going to hit you. So the point is to win games like that. Go into against a bad Raiders team and say, yeah, we're just going to come out here and handle our business. We're not going to try to do anything crazy. We're going to try to pad our stats. We're just going to do that. So impressed by the Broncos, generally. All right, we're doing badasses. We're going back to that Cleveland game. I'm talking about efficiency. All right, talking about Myles Garrett, who could win this award every single week. He could win Defensive Player of the Year every single year. He's going to go up here on the Badass Wall, presented by Manscaped. Step up your grooming game with precision tools that make you feel sharp and feel confident. Manscaped, available at Target. All right, Myles Garrett, tell you something. He didn't have his A game today. Lowest pressure rate in a game this season, under 5%. One pressure. But guess what? No one knows how to make a count like Myles Garrett. He got a sack out of that one pressure. He now has 20 on the season. League leading 20 on the season. That is astronomical. And I'm sure the Titans, Cam Ward holds on to the ball for a long time. So they're going to send him far, far, far away from Myles Garrett. But you knew Myles Garrett wasn't leaving this empty-handed. He's a badass. He's a destroyer of worlds. I've talked to people around him. I mean, he's unbelievable. And there was the weird stuff about Cleveland over the offseason, but he's signed there. He's good. He's the best player on the field every time the Browns play. He's the definition of a badass, and he's as good a defensive player as I've ever seen in my lifetime. Myles Garrett, you're going up on the board. That was Badasses, presented by Manscaped. All right, that's it. We'll be here. We got a bunch of people coming on this week. A bunch of people. Current players, ex-players. I was going to tease it. We have a genre of player we've never had before. And so it'll be a really good week of This Is Football. Also, as I alluded to, we have Jordan Reed coming on. We're going to do draft and college stuff as well, just to give you a little red meat going into the college football playoffs. You guys are going to enjoy it. So that's it. Thank you to Myles. It's been football. We will see you on Tuesday.